Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing?
I don't want these.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you very much for coming to the 60th Philly Non-Sport Card Show. We really appreciate it. As I usually do, I want to introduce people. I want to introduce my parents. Oh, by the way, I'm Harris from NSU Card Talk and Non-Sport Update. We have my parents here today, Roxanne and Marlin Toser. Sure. We have Alan Beagle, our editor-in-chief of Non-Sport Update.
Yeah,
We have Clifford Tooker, our subscription service manager. Carol Tooker, who helps out with a lot of different things. Big help with the show here today. We have Batman in the back here, who helps us with the show. And my sister-in-law, Jody Toser, has made an appearance today. She has been a big help here at the show. Bill DeFranz is next to her, our price guide guru and promo card specialist. And also today, this is really amazing, but over 15% of the people in this room are from outside of the country. So that's pretty kind of amazing. We also have people here today from California, Texas, Illinois, New England, and many other places. Pennsylvania and New Jersey, of course. Ohio.
Las Vegas, Nevada.
Nevada, yeah. Not California, but close enough. Close enough. Close enough. Yeah. That's part of Canada. We have a special 60th Philly Show program planned out today. Before we get to that, though, we have just a few announcements. Number one is here at the show we are premiering a special Jay Lynch metal card that we are selling at the Non-Sport Update table for $15. They're limited to 100. Jay Lynch is here at the show. He'll sign them for you. So if you're interested, come on over to the Roxanne Toser table, and you can purchase one and then go over to see Jay Lynch and get it signed. We also have some T-shirts, which has art on it by George Wright, who should be in the room maybe?
He's right over there.
Right there. Carol's wearing one too. You want to see what they look like on?
Great.
Done especially for the 60th Philly Non-Sport Card Show. And those are being sold at the prize table. They're $20. We have different sizes available. So if you're interested, go on over and see Janet at the prize table and buy your own. This is mine.
Did you play for that one?
I'm working on it. Let's see how today goes. Coming up in Non-Sport Update, we have the 25th anniversary special coming up. That is our October-November 2014 issue. That comes out in September. We're working on that now. Alan's going to talk a little bit more about Non-Sport Update, but I did want to mention that that's coming up in September. We do have an opportunity for everyone to participate. There's going to be some congratulatory ads that will appear in the issue. And if anyone's interested in doing that, please see me at the show. I can give you some details. The issue should really be cool. We are working hard on it. So now that the 60th show is almost over, we're going to start working on the 25th anniversary issue. So with Non-Sport Update in mind, I'll bring up Alan, talk a little bit more about what's coming up in Non-Sport Update.
Before I do my usual shtick about Non-Sport Update, I just wanted to say a couple of words. You all know that in 1984, the Philly Non-Sport Show started. The Tosers were at the first show. They've been at every show since then, and even before it became their magazine, their show, they had a large influence and shaped it as it went. In 1990, they started Non-Sport Update. There were several non-sport magazines at that time, NSU was the only one left. A lot of that has to do with their tenacity and their heart to put all of this together. They're, I think, the main reason that this hobby exists the way it does now. They're the glue that kept everything together. And I think we should just take a second and thank them for all their efforts, because I don't think any of us would know each other and become friends over the years if it wasn't for the Tosers. So for everything they've done over the years. Okay, so now on to my usual shtick. Harris said there's 15% of the people from outside the country, but he didn't mention the 5% that are from Mars, so I just thought I'd acknowledge that. Coming up in the issue that actually should release late next week, the June-July issue, our cover story is going to be Castle Season 2 from our friends at the Cryptozoic. Nice cover. I found out that I wear the same size jacket as he does. Whatever that's worth, not much. Guardians of the Galaxy from Upper Deck. That's a new Marvel movie coming out. They have a raccoon as a hero. I don't know. Anyway, that should be a good card set. Also look in that issue for previews of Star Wars Chrome from Topps, Game of Thrones Season 3 from Rittenhouse Archives, American Horror Story Season 2 Asylum from Bryant, DC Epic Battles from Cryptozoic, Continuum, unusual series out of Canada from Rittenhouse, and a look back at one of America's favorite families from Topps, the old Partridge Family set. So that should be interesting. The following issue, August, September, Canadian friends should enjoy our retro article on Sergeant Preston of the Yukon. Once Upon a Time Season 2, Cryptozoic, Wacky Packages Chrome Topps, Marvel Universe 75th Anniversary Edition from Rittenhouse, David Bowie, The Man Who Fell to Earth. You see that movie? I hated that movie. But anyway, the cards should be good. They're from Unstoppable Cards. Legendary Encounters, an alien deck building game. A new one out of Monster Wax. Originally they were going to release Dinosaur Galaxy over the summer, but I spoke to Kurt from Monster Wax. He said he wanted to make the set bigger, so he's going to push that back until the winter. In place of it, he's got a new set for monster lovers called Monsters and Maniacs, and he sent me a whole bunch of information on that, so we'll have good detail to tell you about that when it comes out. Under the Dome from Rittenhouse Archives, that hit series, and a little insight on that. The back of the cards are going to be written by our own Charlie Novinsky, who writes for Non-Sport Update, so that should be cool. The cover is Adventure Time from Cryptozoic, and that's about it. The issue after that, of course, as Harris said, is our 25th anniversary issue. It should be bombastic. I can say no more. And keep reading. Thank you.
The spring dates for the Philly show, they are October 18th and 19th. What? Oh, I'm sorry, the fall Philly show is October 18 and 19, back here at the Merchant Square Mall and the Hilton Garden Inn. We now have 5 of our 6 artists lined up, and they, I think 4 of them are probably, or 3 anyway, are in this room. We have Ted Dastic. Ted's in here somewhere. Laura Inglis is somewhere. Where's Laura? There's Laura.
Hiding back here.
We have Gary Caselli, Eric McConnell, who may or may not be in here too. And Jeff Zapata is coming back, so we're really excited about that. And we'll have one more artist to announce soon. So let's get to the 60th Philly Show Non-Sport panel. And I want to bring up Carol Tooker, who has a few words to say.
Thank you, Harris. And I have the honor of introducing the Toser panel, but Alan and Harris said really nice things. But before I get started on these 3, I want to mention the other Toser team member, Jody. I think you all saw her with the wristband, helping with your wristbands. And we all loved having Jody with us. And we hope Jody comes back in October. For your your information, Jody is the wife of #1 son of Roxanne and Marlin's Barry. Now, a lot of nice things have been said about the Toser team, and I have to agree with everything Alan said. They hold this sport together. They got us interested in it. I didn't even know what a non-sport card was before I met Marlin and Roxanne, and we've just enjoyed the shows ever since. And I always think of when Marlin and Roxanne, when most people, you know, get a little older and they're thinking about maybe retiring, they want to lay back and everything, but not Marlin and Roxanne. They just zoomed right into this, and they work more than most people I know who are in their 20s. And we're going to start off this morning in the panel with Roxanne, and then we'll have Harris, and then we'll sum it up with Marlin. And Roxanne, I think, as you all know, has done many, many things in her life. I can't keep up with her, and I don't know them all. But she used to teach, and she had a mail order business, and then in October of 1990, they started the magazine. And I don't know if many of you know this, but Roxanne also makes the most beautiful, magnificent jewelry. And she probably does 5 to 10 other things, but I just can't keep up with them. They really need no other introduction. They're going to speak for a while. The most important will come first, Roxanne. So I'm going to turn it over to Roxanne.
Thank you. Okay, first off, I want to pay tribute to Frank and Phyllis Richter, who started this show in 1984. Unfortunately, Phyllis passed away a little bit over a year ago, and Frank was unable to attend the show. And some of the other dealers who have passed over the years I'd like to remember. Marty Ballesteri. He was our wonderful friend and mentor. Mark Macaluso. He had infinite knowledge regarding non-sport cards. Bob Foster. His display of not-to-be-found cards anywhere else always looked like a museum. David Grimes. If you wanted tobacco cards, he was the person to go to. Hugh Jones, he was an expert on cards from the 1930s. Gary Kaufman, our longtime friend from Harrisburg. Tom Reed, a very colorful individual. Mike Ruggieri, Anne Marie's husband, who always accompanied her to the shows. And Bill Wolf, husband of Mary Ann. They were both dealers at the very first Philly non-sport card show. And they also set up for many, many years. And I want to make note of how much we appreciate the manufacturers, artists, dealers, and collectors who have helped the Philly show to become our hobby's premier event. It's not just us, all of you are responsible as well. The Philly show affords the opportunity for collectors in person to share their passion, exchange stories, and enjoy the fellowship our hobby promotes. Since the show's relocation to Allentown, we've met collectors from France, the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. A couple of my favorite memories about the shows. One was the time that someone walked into the Philly show with 2 unopened packs of Mars Attacks cards. Handed them to a dealer who went over to consult with another dealer to see if they were authentic. The other dealer said, nah, they're not real, and took one and flung it across the room, and there was a hole in the corner of it, and yes, they were authentic. And at the Radisson in New Jersey, the show was set up in many different rooms. And Martin Murray came over from England. He's a very prestigious dealer in England. And Frank put him in one of the small rooms rather than in the main room. And Martin was quite angry, and that was the last time we saw Martin at one of the shows. And another thing, at the Burlington College, The show was set up in 2 different rooms, and they were pretty far apart. And I swear to you, to this day, some people did not know that there were 2 different rooms. And on a personal note, our family set up at 16 different shows, including Philly in 1984. That's a lot of shows in 1 year. Most of these shows were sports related because there were no other non-sport card shows at that time. And with the exception of the Baseball National and of course Philly, all of these other shows have disappeared. Thank you for helping to keep Philly alive, and I truly hope you will continue to do so. And before I turn the program over to Harris, I would like to read a beautiful card that we received from Martin Cases. Roxanne, Marlin, and Harris. The Philly Non-Sports Card Show is celebrating its 50th show, and no one can ever deny that you have been an intricate force to this achievement. Your love for the hobby and your efforts and dedication have made it possible for all of us to be here, being part of this event. In this day and age, when online auctions are the norm and people choose to be impersonal and detached through the internet, you still allow us to have a human connection to the hobby, where we can personally communicate and hold our precious cards before purchasing them. Thank you for all your efforts and hard work. Happy 60th, Martin Cases. So now I'd like to turn the program over to Harris. Let's all applaud him for creating Card Talk and this gathering, which has evolved into an important part of our show weekends.
Now I get to share my memories of the 60 Philly non-sport card shows. At the first Philly non-sport card show, 1984, there was a 6-year-old boy who took lunch orders from dealers to a local sandwich shop. I think it was, might have been a Wawa, which we're actually near today, here at the Merchant Square Mall. Today, you may say he's grown up with the Philly show. He now handles the PA system. I'd like to acknowledge Marianne Wolf's son, James Wolf, who is the subject of card 10 in our Philly show promo card collection. And if you're over at the Merchant Square Mall today, you'll likely see James. He'll be over there working on the sound system. At an early show in Ben Salem, there was a power failure, and the showroom went dark. It lasted like 20 minutes, and collectors brought out flashlights. We didn't have our cell phones back then, so none of this cell phone stuff. We had flashlights to make purchases. It didn't stop people. They still looked for their cards at the show. There were no graded cards back then, but in the darkness of the room, all the cards looked like they were in mint condition. When Philly moved to the South Jersey Expo Center in Pennsauken, it had been a difficult site to locate. In the vicinity, there was an adult entertainment center, which we later used as a marker to know to tell people where to go to find the show. How many of you guys remember that? After a few years, we grew accustomed to the Expo Center and the surrounding attractions, and it was time for the show to move again. Philly eventually relocated to the Enterprise Center at Burlington Community College in Mount Laurel. At the inaugural show at the Enterprise Center, a robbery took place. That was not a good thing, not a good memory of the Philly show, but it happened at the Inkworks and Rittenhouse booth. After a few years, there was an individual who was identified through security cameras. New Jersey police would not press charges since the alleged theft was not, the alleged thief was not a New Jersey resident. Law enforcement, however, put the matter on record that if the individual was picked up on another charge, he would be arrested for the Philly show robbery, and he later was arrested for the robbery. By the time that the Philly show moved to the, by the time that we presented the 50th event, the show had moved to its present-day location, the Merchant Square Mall. We hosted a fantastic group of 8 artists at that show. They were Ken Kelly, Nar, Sean Pence, Jim Kyle, Brian Kahn, Kevin Graham, Rich Molinelli, and Kate Bradley. We honored Frank and Phyllis Ryder for developing the Philly show at a Saturday dinner. That was really special. The room was decorated with 50th anniversary motif, and we presented a photo slideshow directing collectors and dealers. Who is the magazine's non-sport university columnist, presided over this PowerPoint video presentation after the dinner party. And those are my memories of the 60 Philly non-sport shows, at least just a couple of them anyway. And now I'd like to turn it over to my father, Marlin Toser, who is very instrumental in putting the show together and in keeping non-sport update going. It really is a family affair. There's no weak link in our system. There's no way we could do it without any of us. So
I handle the checkbook. Before I begin, I would like to thank Jacob and Julie Stem from Las Vegas in making these nice name things. Thank you very much, and thank you for coming. And they represent Ferry Photography, right? Right. Okay. I'm going to talk about one of our dealers at one of our shows who became very famous. After the show was over, he laid down on the table and he practiced yoga for about 10 minutes. And then he got up and he started singing, "If I Was a Rich Man." His last whereabouts, when Roxanne was trying to get a hold of him, was in India. Because he goes there for 6 months, and we haven't seen him again, but I would like him to come back and finish his practicing. You know. At one of the shows, at the end of the show, everybody's cleaning up. One of our dealers noticed he was missing cards. He couldn't understand where those cards were. At the next show, a gentleman appeared in front of him, and this is true. He asked him, "Do you buy cards?" And Gary said, "Sure, I buy cards." He said, "Well, look at these." Gary's looking at the cards, and he says to the man, he says, "Where did you get these cards?" "Oh," he says, "I bought them." He said, "Yeah, I know you bought them. You took them from me at the last show." And when Gary turned around, that guy was gone. I mean, we haven't seen him again. But then we started the Allentown show, and Roxanne said, "Well, we got to check out a hotel." So she says to Harris and me, "You go down and you check out this hotel in Allentown."
I have to just say one thing. Of course, I went shopping. So.
So Harris and I, we go down to Allentown, and they showed us a room. Oh, it was nice. The room was really nice. When we came back, Roxanne says, "How's the room?" "Oh, it's wonderful." So we go there, and when we get there, we're checking in. Her name? Toser. "Well, you have a room already." I said, "What?" "No, yeah, you're checked in already." I said, "Why?" "Well, we have these other people. Toser, Cliff and his wife. They're in that room. That's our, okay. We'll call the Tookers up and they'll have to move to another room." Fine. We get in the car. I tell Roxanne, "We got to go right." She said, no, you go left." So we went left. There's a big parking lot. 5 minutes later, we're driving around in the parking lot, and we run into the Tookers. They're trying to get to the room that we were supposed to be in. We're trying to get in their room. So everything's fine. So we go in the room, and Roxanne opens up the drawer and puts her clothes in, and they went to the next drawer. It went right on through. There wasn't anything there in the drawer. He turned on the air conditioner, and the drapes started blowing up, and you had to go over there and fix them up, you know. The next morning, after all that, we wake up, and I open up the door, and the guy that looks like me at the show, Larry, he's up there. He fell out of the door. He tripped. And I said, I go back in, And I said to Roxanne, Larry's laying out there. And she says to me, well, what in the hell are you doing in here? I said, I better go out and see where he is. Thank goodness he didn't get hurt. But we never did go back to that hotel. We never did, you know? And on a good note, one of our dealers who came to this show, Walter Day, who had a video business, and some people, you were here when he had his videos. Well, he had a deal with setting up at the Smithsonian. Took our magazine to the Smithsonian, and he set it up down there. And we went down there to the Smithsonian and saw our magazine sitting there, you know. We thought we had hit the big time, you know, with our magazine at the Smithsonian. That's because some of my old cars are down there that I used to drive. And then when we had people walking around at the show who tried to grab attention and everything, a woman called Frank Richter and said, can my husband come as Batman? And Frank said, sure, he can come as Batman. And this guy, 50 years old, showed up, 50 pounds overweight, walking around the room looking like Batman. But, he, you know, he never did look like Batman. We had some other people, you know, who came to the shows that I don't really want to talk about. But at the same time, what we would like to do now is throw it out to you people who made this show possible, made it a good success, and tell us about some of your experiences that you ran into at any particular show you came to. Does anybody want to start out?
Yes, please stand up. And as Marlin said, we want to have some input from you. So we may be asking you some questions, but you can also ask any of these people questions. And I hope their memories brought back a lot of memories to you. I'll never forget that hotel. I think it took us an hour to all get into our right rooms. And when I talked to the woman at the desk, she said, well, I couldn't find your name on the list, so I just gave you the Toser room. I don't know what you thought we were going to do. So shall we turn it over to questions and answers?
There's one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, some of you guys may not know, but I actually produced trading cards at one time, nostalgia cards, and in 1999 was when we did our first set of Mortal Monster cards, and I planned on announcing it here at the Village Show. So that was the very first show we did, and I came with my brother, who was the art director on the set, designed it and everything, and the cards had, our first set was Morbid Monsters. It had monsters on the front and limericks on the back. And my wife and I, we wrote all the limericks and everything, and so we were going to come here. And so my brother and I, this was all before GPSs, and we're looking at, you know, coming here, we got lost, and we were driving around, and we ended up in Limerick, Pennsylvania. Wow, so we got out, we're taking pictures of us up by the sign on the way here. And we came here and we took a big display and, you know, launched our card set here. So to me, that's probably one of my best memories of the show. So I want to share it.
Thank you.
Is there anybody in this room who can say they attended every single Philly show? No.
Well, you.
Yeah, well, we did, but
There were five dealers who did attend the first show. And last night we had a contest, and we had 25 people who registered. But none of the people, some people guessed 4 out of the 5. But they did not guess all the 5 of them. And one was A.J. Rakowski, one was Mary Ann Wolf, Al Wexler, Robert Raganese, and who was the 5th one?
us.
But they attended, I don't know, I think. Set up. I think Derek Waywood was at that show as a, Derek, you were there, weren't you?
Yeah, as a buyer, not
As a buyer, you were there. I remember you being there as a buyer, and John Fitzgerald reminded me of that last night, that you had been there.
And the Marshall tax pack incident was actually my helper. We threw the packs. So I guess I'm financially responsible for the difference.
Yeah. Martin, you have come to this show from where? From Costa Rica or where?
No, I live in Canada now, but I'm from.
Martin is a recent, he's got his third citizenship now.
Oh,
He's now a recent citizenship
behaving.
of Canada. This is his third country.
Yeah.
Do you have any memories, Martin, that you can share?
I do. I have one that is my best memory, but it's not a feeling. It's with Roxanne, but it's not a feeling memory.
Well, let's get to it.
Okay. Back in, let me get the year wrong. Probably it was '96. We were at San Diego, picking up signing cards. We were running all over the place with those signing cards,
yeah.
and we did good.
Yeah.
And we got just about everything. I mean, we ended up talking to the people from Dark Horse, which were
Right.
the ones that did those, and they actually sent us whatever we were missing. And then I sent them to you, and Harry stored them somewhere under a trash can or something. But it's not a feeling memory, it's a San Diego
It was
memory.
fun, though.
But
We
it
had
was
so
fun
much
because
fun.
we just, there were so many.
Thank you, that was
Okay.
good.
How about you, Graham? You have any memories that are PG-13 or lower?
Well, with you coming over to Birmingham so much, we thought it'd be a bit of revenge to come down. you kept asking us, and everyone said to me that a lot of people knew me from going to the Comic-Con at San Diego. I got warnings about this show. Don't expect it to be like San Diego. You'll be disappointed. It's so far from the truth, purely because it's exactly what I want from a show. You're not trying to seek out a card dealer in a corner. It is exactly what we come for. There's no airs or graces. We're all like-minded. Sometimes you get good deals. Tony's gone. But on the whole, this is my third show. The cards come second now. I look forward to meeting the people. Those that I've known before and new people. It's great to put faces to the names that you read about. I've met Dina for the first time. We conversed online. Brilliant to meet her now. And that's what this is. It is getting new friends.
Hey, Graham, what about the time Harris wore the earmuffs?
I wasn't there.
You weren't there when he wore the earmuffs.
Well, I saw him fighting through some snow with Dave Brown going to his house. That was in Birmingham. The bloke looked as though he'd never seen cold weather in his life.
That's because I had to take my earmuffs off.
Yeah, it is a nice place to come. People feel comfortable, and that's the main thing. A new attendee, within 5 minutes, doesn't feel new anymore. They're just part of the community. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more memories? Thank you. We have two down back, Alan and
Bill.
Bill. Let's go with Bill.
Okay, well, I'd just like to say first of all to the Tosers that thank you for always making me feel welcome. And I always love coming into the show, and we have a good laugh to start off the show. I have great memories of all the shows, but one in particular where the children's show hosts were in attendance.
Oh, yeah.
and I got to meet my childhood idol, Soupy Sales. In fact, I posted a picture of him and me from the show on my Facebook page. That was just a real highlight of many. And then I guess the other thing, I always had a problem with punctuality. And, you know, I'm usually the last one to walk in. And Roxanne and Marlin would always say something about that to me, so I've really worked on it. So it's been very therapeutic. I feel like I'm a better person. So, you know, again, thank you for, you know, all this entertainment and camaraderie you've given us over the years. It's definitely enhanced my life. You know, I've had a traumatic thing with my work and my family and that kind of thing, and this has always been a great escape.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alan, you had something
Yeah, I
to
was
say?
gonna say, you know, you always remember your first time with everything.
PG-13.
Gotta be PG-13. And it's the same way with the Philly show. I mean, I have been to some local shows, you know, which were big back in the day. They're all gone now. But the first show I went to was October 1990. It was at the Holiday Inn, I think. And when I walked in the door in those days, the Tosers were always the first table as you walked in the door. So not only was my introduction to the Philly show at that time, but it was also to the Tosers. And on their table, the first thing I saw, because it was pointing towards the door, was a Mars Attack set. And I couldn't believe it, you know. And as I walked around the show, I saw 2 other Mars Attack sets. I mean, this was back in the day, you know. But I went back to the Tosers, and they had the first issue of Non-Sport Update on their table. I picked it up and I looked at it and I said, nah, I don't want that. Well, what they did have is, I remember this vividly, they had a 1952 U.S. President set, tops, and I was interested in it. And the price was very reasonable, and I picked it up and I started talking to Roxanne about it, and she said, you know, that set's only VG. I said, I know. And then she went on to try to talk me out of buying it. And I said, this is the most honest deal I've ever had. I liked them from that point on, and I did buy the set. That's my first recollection.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that has, yes, please, stand up.
Oh, no, I can't.
Okay.
Her back hurts.
Yeah.
Okay.
First of all, I wanted to thank Marlin. I had a really good meal last night. You guys made sure that I had a vegetarian meal, and I appreciate that. It was really good, and I thought the dinner was really nice. And how nice I've met all of you guys. You know, this is our 3rd show, and Joe does all this, and I kind of tag along with him. But this will be a show I remember because, like, yeah, we met you guys in Chicago in '03, but I don't know, some of you guys may not know, I had to go to the emergency room yesterday because we drive 15 hours and my back went out. So we were able to go to the emergency room and ring their doorbell and say, please let us in. And so this will be a trip I remember. This is yeah, all that medication later. But I just wanted to thank you because, you know, I'm not into this as much as Joe is, but, you know, I've met so many of you guys, and you've all been really nice to me. And I just enjoy taking this time off coming here, even though I don't collect like he does.
Oh, give it time.
You know, I make him go to Delaware to get my Pandora beads. So
Come to Vegas, we have an exclusive bead.
yes.
We'll go to dinner.
The CZ's dice, yeah. So, but I just wanted to thank you because I know we had talked originally for the dinner, and I was very excited about the dinner, and you were able to help me out so I could enjoy the dinner. So I wanted to thank you personally for letting me enjoy it so much.
Thank you, and we hope hope your back is better.
Oh my gosh, I got 15 hours to drive. That's okay.
And Marlin has something to say.
Before we close, Jay Lynch is selling his canceled checks for $5 a piece. And he's even doing drawings on the back for you. So if you see Jay Lynch, you can get one of his 1998 canceled checks for $5 at the show.
And Jay will tell you that it's a bargain because John Lennon's is $2,000. This is only $5.
They did have some checks with Art Crumb's name on.
They're like $300.